Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dream Leapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole, and so pleased and honored to have you join me today for this pause for our cause, for our inner spirit, for our happiness, for our peace. This moment when we can come together and allow ourselves to be still and to contemplate, what does life really mean? Why does it matter? Why do we get up every day and move forward, hopefully with intention? I think that it's so important for us to be conscious about our choices and about how we move through life, starting with when you have the blessing of waking up in the morning. How are you going to put your feet on the floor? How are you going to move through your day? And one of the things that comes to mind for me often in those early moments of contemplating how to get started is family. And I want us to contemplate, what does family mean? What does family mean to you? What does family mean to each of us? And if we were to pause for a moment and just think about, who is family? Who stands out as important to you in your life that you call family? And for many, many people, that's people who are part of our bloodlines. Folks who, it's auntie this, it's parents, grandparents, children. We're looking at all of our different bloodlines and who are those people who literally we share blood with. Sometimes we even look like them. Who are those people who we identify as family? And depending upon the kind of family you grew up in, there are all kinds of names for delineating who is related to whom in what way. Who are those people that you share blood with, who you call family? And beyond those people, and those people are super important. And as you, anybody who follows me knows, family is everything to me. But there's also, and who are the other people? Who are the other people who you have welcomed into your world, into your heart, who you consider to be your family? And if you were to make a list, who would you put on that list? And how often does the list change? And how often do you add people to that list? It's when you really think about the covenant of family and how tender it is, and also how strong it is. Who do you consider valuable enough that they go beyond friend into that sacred realm of family? How many people reside there? My mother used to talk about friendship and saying that your true friends, you can count on one hand. And I really think when she was saying that, she was talking about friends as family. Because there are many people who are our acquaintances, people we may care about very deeply, but we may not put them in that space of family. I want you to think about, who do you call family? Who are your ride or die people who, no matter what, you will be there for them, and they will be there for you? Because that's the thing. True family, in my understanding of family, it's a reciprocal relationship. It's not always equal, because no relationship is always equal, but it's reciprocal. You can count on that person to have your back. You know you can count on that person to tell you the truth. You know you can count on unconditional love from that person, even when times are tough, even when something has happened and you have crossed the line or they have crossed the line, something occurred to make it difficult for you to want to be family, but you are anyway. And if you think about the people who are from your blood family, we often give those folks a pass, the ones who, oh my goodness, not again. Uncle so-and-so did what? Or, well, that child's always doing something. And you work to help them course correct when it's necessary because you love them. And if someone is going down a wrong path, you don't want to just watch them and say, whatever. You don't do that with people you love. You do your best to figure out how in the world can I get to them? How can I get a message to them that lets them know how valuable they are to me, to this life? Even when it's difficult, because the heart connection is so profound that you would never think of walking away. And I think that's the difference between the familial bond, one that is so close. It's that no matter what kind of love, it doesn't go away, it doesn't dissipate. It's not temporary. But that love that you feel is family with other people means you will figure out a way. There could be the need for space sometimes, and then you have to come back after a bit. But true family, I don't think you let them go. I think you figure out how to hold on to them. So, and the value of the reciprocal relationship is so profound that from the depths of your being, like from your cellular level, you feel it. And so I found a quote. There were so many quotes about family and becoming family with people, but I found a quote that I think will be inspiring to all of us. And let me share it with you now. Family is the compass that guides us. They are the inspiration to reach great heights and our comfort when we occasionally falter. And that's from Brad Henry. I don't know who Brad Henry is, but I just love this. Let's break it down. Family is the compass that guides us. A compass. For somebody like me, a compass is really important because I have no sense of direction. It's really bad. My husband's always saying, really, girl, you can't figure this one out? It doesn't compute in my head. My father was like that too. Good at some things, not good at figuring out space and how to navigate space in the best possible way. So a compass is really important. Like what we use now is GPS. We use all those different apps to help us figure it out. But what is more valuable? Brad Henry says family is the compass that guides us. Family. Family is going to help keep you in the space of your values, in the space of your beliefs, in the space of what you understand to be the right way to live your life and to engage with others and to deal with stresses and whatever the challenges may be. Family is the compass that guides us. Think about that. That's pretty deep, especially in some instances, your family can be very constricting. And so that's why I'm looking at families beyond your nuclear family, because there are occasions when the guidelines and values and rules that a blood family may follow or that a community may follow may not be fully in alignment with who you are, who you have become. And so then who becomes your family to help you to navigate who you are growing into? And that is extremely important for you to be specific about, because you could walk away from one side of your family and walk into another, this formed family. And you have to be careful who you're forming family with so that you don't walk off a cliff, so that you don't lose your sense of purpose and dignity and the values that are important to you. And I say that because we can think of people who have followed a so-called cult, right? Oh no, this seems so good. And while there are many ways of honoring the spirit, honoring the soul, following something that is dangerous and excommunicating yourself from your loved ones and your family in order to do that, that is not what I'm talking about. I'm saying sometimes as we grow, as we become more fully ourselves, we may find that some of the beliefs and values that belonged to our parents and to the communities where we grew up are not exactly in alignment with the beliefs we have today. And if that is so, and you still believe that your beliefs are honorable and will set you on a course toward greatness and goodness, then you need to surround yourself with people who share that. Family that you welcome in to your life and your world. And you have to be careful. People have to deserve to be part of your community, part of your inner circle in order to be invited in. Have you ever thought about that? I talk about it a lot here on Dream Leapers, but I want you to give that some serious thought. Sometimes, especially if we feel lonely and we feel like we want to be connected to others, people can make the mistake of inviting people in who don't deserve to be there. And when we do that, it can be really hard to extricate yourself from those people. And when you are close to people whoever they are, when you spend a lot of time with them, you listen to them, you are engaged with them, what usually happens is that you start believing whatever they say, because this is what you hear over and over again. So you could believe that what they're saying is the truth. Is it? Maybe, maybe not. So you want, if family is the compass that guides us, you need to be really careful about who you choose to become that compass, right? And so Brad Henry says they are the inspiration to reach great heights and our comfort when we occasionally follow. So let's look at that. If family, they are the inspiration to reach great heights. I want you to look at your life, survey your life. Who are the people in your life who uplift you, who say to you, yes, you can do it, who listen attentively to see what are the ideas that are welling up within you? What do you want to do with your life? If there needs to be a shift, what is that shift? If you need help figuring it out, who is listening for real? Who is listening? Who is listening and sharing with you wisdom that you need in the moment? And I think of a neighbor, because I want to say sometimes family doesn't have to be someone you talk to a lot. Sometimes friends, people who really love you and support you, you don't have to talk to them a lot, but it's those moments when you need each other and boom, you have that experience of connecting that can be so powerful. So there's a neighbor of mine who often tunes into this broadcast, Leslie, and we've talked about, we just seem to always run into each other at the right moment. Something will be going on and boom, people call that coincidence. I don't believe that ever. We run into each other and it's the perfect moment to have an exchange, a powerful exchange that is inspiring for each of us. That something has happened for me, something has happened for her, with our families. And as through this covenant of grace and peace, we're able to find a light. Boom, the light pops on inside and we see something that we may not have seen before. Has that ever happened for you? See, I think when that happens, that to me feels like family coming together, supporting the moment, uplifting the moment, and then maybe boom, gone for a while. Because you don't have to have somebody holding your hand all the time, but it's grace coming in through others that helps us to be able to reach those great heights. Now, the contrast to that, because there are also a lot of naysayers in our lives. I don't know that anyone is immune to naysayers. There are people who will say to you, whatever it is you have on your heart, on your mind, it's wrong. They shut you down before you even start talking. They will tell you you can't do this or that. They will just diminish whatever it is that you're saying. They can be helpful, by the way, because sometimes the naysayers prompt us to push forward. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to prove you wrong. But I don't necessarily put them in the category of family. I put them in their own category. Those are the people, those are the agitators. They're the ones who, if they're important because you need to know that there are landmines all around. And you want to avoid landmines, you need to pay attention to the negatives and listen. If the negatives are helping you to see how you can refine whatever it is that you are working on, how you can get more specific about whatever the path is that you're navigating, well, that is very important for you to be able to address and for you to be able to adjust. Yes? But I want you to understand that true family, true family, in my way of looking at the world, is uplifting. It's uplifting. And that's what Brad Henry says. They are the inspiration to reach great heights. Think about that. When you are up high, like one of my favorite place to be is in Sag Harbor. It's beautiful. The beach is there. And in different parts of that part of New York, you can go up high. And when you go up high, what you can see is a vista. You look down, you see the water, you see homes, you see nature, and you can breathe. So when you reach a great height, you can breathe. It feels so good to be able to take a deep breath in and just be present in that clean air. And I think when family inspires you to reach great heights, that is what can happen. Similarly, for the exact opposite, but it's still similar, what Brad Henry is saying, family can be our comfort when we occasionally falter. Think about that. And sometimes it's more than occasional, by the way. Our comfort when we occasionally falter. So, what does that mean? We are not perfect. We make mistakes all the time. And especially when we're working on our big dreams, we have big goals, and there's a lot at stake. When that happens and we mess up, we falter. That did not work well. That did not go as planned. If it's something that it's making you money, did not make as much money as you needed it to make. People didn't like whatever it is that you offered to the world. You were unable to achieve whatever it is that you felt you wanted to achieve. And when those things happen, we can fall hard. The most confident among us can feel really fragile when something that we're putting out into the universe doesn't work and we falter. And I ask any of you out there, if you tell yourself the truth, I'm sure that's happened. And it can happen throughout the day. You can have moments when, oh, this is great. Yes, this is great. I just talked to a very good friend of mine who I believe is tuned in right now, Carlton. We were talking about building businesses and offering creativity to the world. And when you offer your creativity to the world, first of all, it is personal. Whether it's business or not, it's still personal. You're offering it and you're hoping that others will receive it and will love it as much as you loved creating it. And that doesn't always happen, right? Well, how do you keep up that resilience? How do you keep up your stamina? How do you keep moving forward when it's hard? How do you keep the inspiration growing within you when sometimes you stumble or even if it's not a stumble, sometimes you just don't reach whatever goal you may have had in mind. And I was thinking back on the conversation Carlton and I just had. When you surround yourself with people who care about you, it's a soft landing when something may not go exactly right. Furthermore, you might look at something differently and not even think of it as faltering. You may look, oh, here's an opportunity. This is a beautiful opportunity for me to take whatever my idea is to the next level. And for someone like the two of us who've been connected for like 30 years almost, some really long time, to see our careers kind of navigate and grow as they have is beautiful. Beautiful in the sense of being able to support one another and to support the people in this community. And so I ask you, when you think about people you care about, when you think about people that you have the opportunities to support and who have the opportunity to support you, how do you how do you nurture those relationships? And so that's what I want us to contemplate right now. People who you truly care about, who you welcome into your world as family. How often do you think about them? How do you tend to them? When do you reach out to them? How do you show that you care about them? How do they show that they care about you? Do you take them for granted? Very often, too often, people take each other for granted when they love each other, when they feel like family. Oh, we got this because we're tight. But if you think about it, the people you are closest to are the people that you hurt the easiest because they care the most. And so I want us to think about how we nurture our family. The family that we have created, that community of people that we love, who are not part of our bloodlines, and the ones who are. I just saw my friend Kevin Harry the other day. We went to college together, so we go way, way, way back. And we just saw each other in a shopping mall. It was perfect timing. And he was telling me about his mother, who I believe is 90, and my mother's 94. And we were talking about how we tend to them, how we care about them. Your mother's probably the most important person in your life. And we were sharing stories of how we tend to our mothers now from a distance and what that love has grown into. For both of us, in this case, it's talking to them just about every day, sometimes more than once a day. It's making sure, in my case, my sister Stephanie is in the town where my mom is, and she's really the one who's holding everything down, but making sure she's okay and making sure that if there are things that are needed, that they're available to my mother and those who care for her. Similarly, the other people in your family, the ones who share your blood, the ones who don't. Ask yourself, how do you tend to them? Do you call them? Do you visit them? Do you make them a priority when you get time off? I'm going to tell you another story. My grandmother, Carrie, for whom I named my daughter. So my grandmother lived to be 101 years old. She was always old from the moment I was born, but old was a great thing. And it was something that as a young adult, I didn't always understand. So she lived with my family for the last 7 or 8 years of her life. She retired at 93, folks. Yes. And that's when she lived with my family. Before that, she lived on her own. And I remember when I was in New York, just moved to New York, I'm a professional, I'm doing my job. And I would call home, but you only have a few minutes, especially when you're a junior person in your career. And I call home to say hello to her. And this is rotary phones way back for those of you who remember that. And I remember calling her a couple of times and the phone rang a long time. And, I'm a professional. I'm busy. I've got to keep it moving. And after about 10 or so rings, I hung up the phone. Later that night, I called again and I learned that my grandmother, who was 90 something, I mean, mid to late 90s, was walking to the phone. There were no cell phones then. She was walking to the phone. And it took her longer to get to the phone than for me to wait and let it continue to ring. When I learned that, I was heartbroken. I never forgot. How do you tend to your family? How do you nurture them? You need to know who they are and what their needs are and how to care for them. In that case, as a young adult, I was thinking about myself. I was also thinking about her because I called her, but I did not think about what it took for her to get up from her seat and walk across the house to where the phone was. So you can imagine I never did that again once I learned what had happened. These things happen when we aren't consciously thinking about the other people because it's not about us. It's about the circle of love, the circle of life, right? And when you think about the other one, what family member is it that you are connecting with at this moment? And what is the best way to love that person? What is the best way to tend to that person? It's that flip on the golden rule. It's not so much do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's do unto others as they would have you do unto you, unto them. What do people want? How do people want to be treated? How do they want to be held when it's a tender moment? How do they want to be supported? Showing true love to people is figuring that out. When you figure that out, the whole relationship is so much sweeter because you demonstrate that you care about them. And when you demonstrate you care about them, they want to show their care, love, attention, and support to you. It's a cycle. And the cycle of family, when the people are in your inner circle, the people you cherish the most, understand that you do because that's how you treat them. It's not what you say. Although what you say is helpful too, but it's what you do. How can you be their compass? How do you do that? How can you be their inspiration so that they reach the greatest of heights? How can you support them when they falter? How can you be that soft landing when times get tough? When you are that soft landing, often you can help to turn the whole thing around. So the soft landing feels like a bounce, right? So rather than, a thud, it's a bounce. You landed, you bounce back up and reach those high heights again. You get to the top of the hill. You get to the ocean view. We can do this for each other. It is possible. As Brad Henry says, family is the compass that guides us. They are the inspiration to reach great heights and our comfort when we occasionally falter. And I want to say to you, I talked to another friend just the other day who lost his job. Now it's been a few months. And he said that a couple of his boys were saying, how you doing, man? How's it going? Do you need anything? And he's a man. So, a man is not going to say, yeah, I need this because it's harder. I'm not being sexist. It's just harder. But what he said to me was, they know what I'm going through. I shouldn't have to ask. A friend knows, a family member who's paying attention can see that family member needs help. I need help. And your people, your family, that community are there to help you. So let us move out into this day and this week, looking through the lens of family. Who are those people we claim as family and how are we treating them? How are you treating the people that you love the most? How are they treating you? And how can you treat each other optimally, the absolute best? And if you don't think you're doing it now, start. Right now, now is the moment. Seize the moment. It will make your life sweeter. I promise you it will. So until next time, have a great day and make it count. Namaste.